Ladies and gentlemen, this is Intervlog. I said this is Intervlog. What a moment, what a sight. Burkina Faso is rewriting history, proving to the world that self-sufficiency is not a dream. It is a reality. Look at these vast fields, cultivated by none other than the nation's own prisoners. This is the leadership of President Captain Ibrahim Traoré in action, a true visionary, a revolutionary. While some African nations are crying over the withdrawal of USAID, Burkina Faso is standing tall, harvesting its biggest yield ever. And who made this possible? The prisoners. Yes, under the brilliant leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso has turned its correctional institutions into centers of agricultural revolution. Cut to Burkina Faso's Minister of Justice and Human Rights, Mr. Edasso Rodrigue BAYALA, addressing the media during his visit to Baporo Prison Centre, standing before rows of wheat fields cultivated by inmates. BAYALA said, "This is the first time that the center has been at this level of production since its creation. What you see today is the result of the Presidential Initiative for Food Self-Sufficiency and the Agricultural Offensive launched by the Ministry of Agriculture. It is a question of realizing the vision of the head of state, producing what we consume, and ensuring Burkina Faso never relies on foreign aid again." Cut back to the speaker, eyes wide with excitement, shaking his head in admiration. "My people, do you hear that? The first time in history. Thanks to the bold and strategic decision of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, prisoners are not just sitting idle behind bars. No, they are working, they are cultivating, they are feeding the nation. While other African leaders are lamenting the loss of USAID funding, Burkina Faso is saying, no more begging, no more dependency. We will feed ourselves. And look at the results. 50 tons of wheat harvested from just one location, Baporo Prison Centre. And that is only the beginning. Prisoners harvesting wheat, potatoes, and bananas, smiling as they work. Some of them speak directly to the camera, said, "Before, I had no skills, no future. But here, I have learned to farm. I know that when I leave here, I will be able to support myself. We are not just growing food, we are growing our future. Our work feeds the nation. We are proud. This is leadership. This is governance." Captain Ibrahim Traoré did not wait for handouts. No, he took charge. He saw that the prisons were full of young, able-bodied men under 45. Instead of being a burden on the state, he turned them into an asset. And the results? Mind-blowing. Burkina Faso is now on the path to total food sovereignty. While other nations are panicking over USAID withdrawal, Burkina Faso is exporting surplus food. This is how a leader prepares his nation for the future. Cut to Burkina Faso's Minister of Agriculture, Commander Ismael SOMBIE, inspecting the farmland, nodding with satisfaction. Minister SOMBIE, archival footage. This project is a testament to the vision of our president. With the right policies and determination, we can turn every resource, including our manpower, into productive assets for national development. We are proud to support this initiative, which will reduce food imports and strengthen our economy. Brothers and sisters, Burkina Faso is showing us the way. They are proving that Africa does not need to rely on foreign aid to survive. Look at these farms. Look at the wheat, the potatoes, the avocados. This is a movement. This is a revolution. President Captain Ibrahim Traoré has turned what was once a challenge into an opportunity. Other African leaders, where are you? Why are you not following this example? Why are your prisons still centers of waste when they could be centers of productivity? Why are you crying about USAID instead of mobilizing your own people to build your nations? Captain Ibrahim Traoré has given you the blueprint. Follow it. Final scene. A drone shot of endless farmland cultivated by inmates with the Burkinabe flag waving in the background. This is only the beginning. Under President Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso is rising. Food self-sufficiency is not just a goal. It is a reality. And for that, we say thank you, President Traoré. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your leadership. And to the rest of Africa, wake up. The time for dependency is over. Burkina Faso, no more foreign aid. The revolution is here. How Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, deployed prisoners to farms 8 months before U.S. President Donald Trump's USAID withdrawal. Baporo, promote food autonomy of Burkina Faso detention and correctional homes. Minister of State, Minister of Agriculture, Animal and Fisheries Resources. Commander Ismael SOMBIE and Minister of Justice, Human Rights, Incharge of Institutional Relations. Mr. Edasso Rodrigue BAYALA visited the agricultural field of Baporo Prison Centre on February 7, 2025, a locality located in Baporo the Mid-West region. Various speculations such as wheat, banana, avocado are produced by the inmates of the so-called center. Speech of Burkinabe. Minister of Justice and Human Rights, Mr. Edasso Rodrigue BAYALA. He said, "This is the first time that the center has been at this level of production since its creation. And this within the framework of the Presidential Initiative for Food Self-Sufficiency and the agricultural offensive that is launched by the Ministry of Agriculture, that what you see today is achieved. It is indeed a question of realizing the vision of the head of state with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture, of producing what we consume and working to achieve food self-sufficiency in our country. We must not continue to import when we have the possibilities to produce. It is within the framework of this offensive, of course, in the vision of the head of state to achieve food self-sufficiency, that at the level of the Ministry of Justice, as you know, which manages the various penitentiary establishments, which is full of manpower. Most of our penitentiary institutions have very young pensioners, so almost 90% are under 45. They must produce, and we must not continue to draw on the state budget to feed these penitentiary pensioners, because they themselves constitute a workforce that can produce. It is the combination of these factors that led us to consider conducting an experiment with the technical and material support of the Ministry of Agriculture that these 10 hectares of wheat were tested. Initially 30 hectares are planned, but we have not yet announced. What you see is already 10 hectares, and you see that it is progressing very well. It gives hope. It actually encourages us to move forward and say that everything is possible. You just need to have the vision and put a little will into it, and it gives the results that you see. And we also had on the identity of the head of state to make a certain number of legislative transformations at the legal level, because the real problem was also our laws. We must work on our laws to allow a good application for the benefit of society. We had also worked on a certain number of laws, including in particular the law on community service, which today allows all prisoners, whether they are on remand, that is to say not yet judged, or whether they have already been judged or sentenced, to make an option to come and do community service precisely in agricultural centers, which allows them to have a reduction in their sentence. When you do community service for a month, you have a reduction in sentence of 3 months. And then, when you are still at the judgment stage, we had asked the courts to pronounce sentences that can allow these people to come and work, and so that together we can build the nation. And at the same time as these people work, we also teach them to work, to train, to return to society. I believe that it is laziness and idleness, of course, that create vices and lead these people to indulge in acts that are not recommended. But when they come here, they will at the same time work and learn something, to forge themselves and have a sociability that will reach a level which will allow us at a given moment to judge them useful and able to return to society. Because when we punish someone, the other sanctions aim to bring the person to amend, whose punishment has a re-socialization function. So, all in all, vision of re-socialization of amendment, vision of production and care, vision of reducing the budget, the weight of the operation, of the care of these residents in the budget. All these visions mean that we are obliged to move forward. And the season that has just ended, we are at about 50 tons of production only here, in Baporo. In addition to that, it is linked to livestock farming and everything that there is. You have also seen 5 hectares of cocoa being tested on student bananas. You have seen 9 hectares of potatoes. You have seen 9 hectares of potatoes, which is also growing. All this is the first time that this has been done. It is with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture, whose Minister of State himself is here, that you have seen with us, who came to visit and who has again seen the concerns, has made a certain number of commitments to effectively boost these centers to the great happiness of our populations. The speech of His Excellency, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso, on the transformation of prisoners into farmers and the path to food self-sufficiency. My fellow Burkinabe, distinguished guests, ministers, and esteemed citizens, today I stand before you with great pride and conviction as we celebrate an initiative that embodies resilience, vision, and national sovereignty, the transformation of our prisons into centers of agricultural productivity. What we have achieved in Baporo is not just a testament to our commitment to food self-sufficiency, but a reflection of the spirit of our people, unshaken, industrious, and determined to build a stronger Burkina Faso. For decades, we have imported food while having the vast potential to produce it ourselves. We have relied on external aid while possessing the labor force to cultivate our own lands. But today, Burkina Faso is taking a different path. Quand l'eau dort, c'est que le crocodile veille. When the water is calm, the crocodile is watching. We saw what was coming. 8 months before the withdrawal of USAID by President Donald Trump, we had already set our course towards agricultural independence. Our decision to integrate prisoners into this initiative was not merely about reducing state expenditure, but about offering a second chance to those who have stumbled on their path. Some say that prisons are a place of punishment. I say they are also a place of transformation. What is justice if it does not restore? What is discipline if it does not reform? The great African wisdom teaches us, un arbre tordu peut encore donner du bon bois. A crooked tree can still yield good wood. We believe that those who have lost their way can still contribute meaningfully to our society. By working on farms, prisoners are not only repaying their debt to society, but also learning valuable agricultural skills. When they leave these institutions, they will not return to a life of crime, but instead, they will return to their communities as productive citizens, ready to farm, feed their families, and contribute to the economy. This is true justice. This is true rehabilitation. Thanks to this initiative, our correctional facilities are no longer a burden on the state budget. Rather, they have become contributors to our national food reserves. In Baporo alone, 10 hectares of wheat have already been cultivated with plans for 30 hectares in the future. 50 tons of production have been recorded, alongside significant harvests of bananas, avocados, potatoes, and even experimental cocoa plantations. These results are nothing short of extraordinary. I want to acknowledge the efforts of our Minister of Agriculture, Commander Ismael SOMBIE, and our Minister of Justice, Mr. Edasso Rodrigue BAYALA. Their vision and dedication have brought us to this point. As Minister BAYALA rightly said, everything is possible. You just need to have the vision and put a little will into it. Economic and social advantages of this initiative, reducing the burden on the state budget. The cost of feeding inmates has been drastically reduced. Instead of being mere consumers, they are now producers. The wheat, fruits, and vegetables produced help decrease Burkina Faso's dependency on foreign food imports. Through community service in agriculture, inmates can reduce their sentences, acquire skills, and reintegrate into society with dignity. Many of these former prisoners will go on to become full-time farmers, contributing to the nation's agrarian economy. Work instills discipline. Un homme qui cultive la terre ne cultive pas le mal. A man who cultivates the land does not cultivate evil. The success of Baporo must serve as a model for all our correctional facilities. We must replicate this program across Burkina Faso, ensuring that every prison farm is productive. Our judiciary must continue to reform laws to allow more prisoners to engage in community service through agriculture. I call upon our local leaders, agricultural experts, and business community to support this movement. Provide the resources, offer the training, and create opportunities for reintegration. Together, we can transform our justice system into a force for economic growth and national development. My brothers and sisters, let us not be mistaken. This is more than just a farming project. This is a statement to the world that Burkina Faso is self-reliant. On ne tresse pas la corde d'un puits quand on a soif. We do not braid a well's rope when we are thirsty. We anticipate, we prepare, and we act before crisis strikes. This is our revolution. A revolution of food independence. A revolution of economic liberation. A revolution of justice that restores rather than simply punishes. Let us move forward, together, in unity and determination. Let every grain of wheat, every bunch of bananas, and every hectare cultivated be a symbol of our strength and resilience. Vive le Burkina Faso! Vive la souveraineté alimentaire! En avant vers l'autonomie et la prospérité. Thank you. Some say that prisons are a place of punishment. I say they are also a place of transformation. What is justice if it does not restore? What is discipline if it does not reform? The great African wisdom teaches us, un arbre tordu peut encore donner du bon bois. A crooked tree can still yield good wood. We believe that those who have lost their way can still contribute meaningfully to our society. By working on farms, prisoners are not only repaying their debt to society, but also learning valuable agricultural skills. When they leave these institutions, they will not return to a life of crime, but instead, they will return to their communities as productive citizens, ready to farm, feed their families, and contribute to the economy. This is true justice. This is true rehabilitation. Thanks to this initiative, our correctional facilities are no longer a burden on the state budget. Rather, they have become contributors to our national food reserves. In Baporo alone, 10 hectares of wheat have already been cultivated, with plans for 30 hectares in the future. 50 tons of production have been recorded, alongside significant harvests of bananas, avocados, potatoes, and even experimental cocoa plantations. These results are nothing short of extraordinary. I want to acknowledge the efforts of our Minister of Agriculture, Commander Ismael, SOMBIE, and our Minister of Justice, Mr. Edasso Rodrigue BAYALA. Their vision and dedication have brought us to this point. As Minister BAYALA rightly said, everything is possible. You just need to have the vision and put a little will into it. Economic and social advantages of this initiative. Reducing the burden on the state budget. The cost of feeding inmates has been drastically reduced. Instead of being mere consumers, they are now producers. The wheat, fruits, and vegetables produced help decrease Burkina Faso's dependency on foreign food imports. Through community service and agriculture, inmates can reduce their sentences, acquire skills, and reintegrate into society with dignity. Many of these former prisoners will go on to become full-time farmers, contributing to the nation's agrarian economy. Work instills discipline. Un homme qui cultive la terre ne cultive pas le mal. A man who cultivates the land does not cultivate evil. The success of Baporo must serve as a model for all our correctional facilities. We must replicate this program across Burkina Faso, ensuring that every prison farm is productive. Our judiciary must continue to reform laws to allow more prisoners to engage in community service through agriculture. I call upon our local leaders, agricultural experts, and business community to support this movement. provide the resources, offer the training, and create opportunities for reintegration. Together, we can transform our justice system into a force for economic growth and national development. Why Trump and Elon Musk want to shut down the world's largest humanitarian aid donor. Amid Donald Trump and Elon Musk's push to reshape the U.S. government, the world's largest development agency, USAID, has become their primary target. The move is having a profound impact on the humanitarian sector around the globe. Elon Musk called it a criminal organization. Donald Trump said it has been run by a bunch of radical lunatics. After more than 6 decades of helping countries worldwide and weathering bipartisan efforts to slash its budget, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, may be facing permanent closure. The agency and its beneficiaries around the world have found themselves under attack from billionaire Musk, whom U.S. President Trump has tasked with downsizing the government workforce and cutting federal spending. The dismantling of USAID, compounded by Trump's orders to reassess U.S. contributions to the United Nations, to withdraw from the World Health Organization and exit the Paris Agreement, has cast a shadow of uncertainty over the future of global humanitarian efforts and public health. The U.S. spends more on foreign assistance than any other nation. In the 2023 fiscal year, the U.S. disbursed, through various agencies, $72 billion, $114 billion of aid worldwide on everything from women's health to distributing food in war zones to clean water access, HIV/AIDS treatments, energy security, and anti-corruption work. Roughly half of that amount, equal to less than 1% of the total U.S. federal budget, was USAID's budget. The agency had more than 10,000 staffers and contractors, 2/3 of whom were based overseas. The U.S. has been the largest single donor of the UN. In 2024, it provided 42% of all aid tracked by the organization. Founded in 1961, USAID has primarily supported developing countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America by funding projects run by local groups, international organizations on the ground, and other governments. Its scope of work has been extensive, from vaccines and disease prevention to feeding the hungry to financing small businesses and promoting good governance through support for human rights, independent media, and free elections. It has also been involved in conflict and disaster relief. To its defenders, USAID is an essential humanitarian agency, whose work also boosts America's soft power and champions democratic values. Critics, including authoritarian governments and some conservatives, have long viewed it as a tool for pushing U.S. geopolitical interests and spreading socially progressive values, specifically through support for LGBTIQ+ and women's rights. USAID has often been accused by some governments of acting as a front to foment pro-U.S. regime change. There have been historical cases of the agency being abused in this way, including as recently as the 2000s in Cuba, when it helped set up a social media network aimed at organizing protests against the government. More often, however, the claim has been used by authoritarian governments to attack independent media and civil society groups that have received foreign grants. In Russia, for instance, such groups have been labeled foreign agents and banned, while in Hungary, foreign-funded NGOs have been subject to restrictive laws. On 26 January, the U.S. State Department issued a worldwide stop-work directive after Trump's executive order to freeze all foreign aid, pending a review of its efficiency and alignment with American interests. After an outcry, some exceptions were made for emergency food and medicine assistance. But reports indicate the sudden closure of USAID's headquarters in Washington and furlough of employees has halted the distribution of vital aid. More than 450,000 tons of food worth $340 million, $540 million, is stuck in transit or storage, and the supply of drugs for HIV, malaria, and tuberculosis has been suspended, according to Reuters. However, the plan to close the agency was suspended by a U.S. judge who on Friday granted a request from the largest U.S. government workers' union and an association of foreign service workers. The ruling, which blocks the Trump administration's plans to place about 2,200 USAID workers on paid leave and reinstate some 500 employees who had already been furloughed, will be in effect until February 14th. The judge will consider a request for a longer-term pause at a hearing scheduled for next week. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.